Let's go back into service. So we're going to shift this over into a pass forward. So back a little bit. Okay. Now, the question is how we can keep a lot of the space for you guys here without the seams being too obvious. Does that make sense? So we want you two still relatively close to the sideline. That right there is probably really good. If we can create just a little bit more space in the center than here, that would be best. We don't want it to be so big that people are just going 100% through this piece. Does that make sense? What? We're good. We're gonna pull you into the service area since you've been working on it. You're going to perform it, right? Okay. So, and we also want you to be able to take more responsibility to score on that. Okay. So ideally, especially when you're in the back row, it would be better if the majority of the balls are played here. So theoretically with this, it would almost be about 75% of the court is between you two, and then you each would have like 12.5% of the court. Does that make sense? The big thing that you can't do here, and you have to make sure on both sides, especially when you're doing this, you can't bail in the seam. Okay, so if the ball is coming here, you can't just not go here. Okay, you have to be able to take that one step, play from there. Okay. I think in this rotation, our strongest scoring, the 10 here is really good, and we want to overload that side as much as possible. Okay, including having you run in for inside plays sometimes. Okay, I think especially here in 2 or 3, and then you coming in off 1 foot in front of Grayson, and Simon coming around on a green is a pretty good scoring right here. Does that make sense? We also would want it to be like a goalie 10 with a pick. Okay. Anything where you 3 are all on this half of the court, and you're the only one on that side to make sure you have a solo every time. Okay. Does that make sense? Okay. We think of anything else there that would make sense in this rotation, like if he's coming in for a 4, what would look good? Aside from Simon just coming in from the green again. Yeah, 4B. No. Don't bring natural inside. Yeah. Yeah. Because as much as possible we want you to be one-on-one, because this could be a pretty easy automatic score against them. And then ideally having 2 blockers over on this side that have to figure out who is getting them would be good. If that comes in on a 4, then this blocker is just going to come in. Maybe you can come around on a blue, but that seems like too much in this rotation. Does that make sense? If we're running go B and gap up to 7, then you can't set it. Okay, so then this blocker is just keeping it in, and then all he has to do is take 1 step in to get a triple block. be moved around more often on this point. Especially if we're playing tall left side on this side to keep him away from, because we rarely hit the big that way. We're almost always hitting it down. So this left side blocker, never thinking he has to come in, and his only job is to solo here. He has to be out here. Creates a lot more space. Does that make sense? Do we agree with that? We can try it against Liam. You know what I mean? Over on that side, but I think you want to move you three around more first. And really keep the overload on that side. You got that? Okay. Let's see row 2. Receive. Okay. Now I think we focus, keep the overload on this side. Okay. Create Simon as what I want as possible. I think we have to establish the thing in this rotation. Okay. Yes. And you come out just from around behind. Yeah. But we're doing our back on those. We need to work on that instead of just kind of because as soon as he's around the middle is going to hold a little bit longer because there's 3 times. So you want to try to save this as much as possible, especially if you are a little opposite, that the ball is not just going to run in this distribution. Does that make sense? Go back into your services. I think that should stay small 7 or 8. And then you have to understand who's who are primary passes. Okay? That way, you can't do too much. And again, this is one of those situations where you can't fail with this because that has to make sure he's covering over half of this to something. That way, you can get out of this. Makes sense. Okay. Anything else you see in this one? Yeah.
I don't want to push you forward. He's going to be isolated, so he could run kind of whatever he wants.
Yeah, maybe we'll have to make sure on the 2 and 3s that something different is happening on the 3s.
I just run on black.
Black. Then we just see. And keeping him primarily. Also, the future is seeing that we're starting from a 2.5. Yes. We're doing 4. Give these 2 spaces a little bit more than this space. Right there. And then you stay right in the middle, right there. Okay. And again, working left on you 2 there. Okay. In this rotation, I mean, it would be ideal if they tried to go on this half of the court. Okay. One thing that happens a lot with this passer in zone 1 is if they play the ball, they keep the ball close to them. But this is one of those situations where we need to make sure we're not keeping the ball close to you. Okay, so you really have to make sure you're getting back around so that if anything, Grayson is coming forward to play this ball because speed with these 3, especially these 2, both of those two, and they get blocked as bigger. So you have to really make sure that you're keeping Grayson here in the middle. And if that's the case, what are we running with Hunter here? Yes. Yeah. This is where we really want to work up the middle. Okay. Including when Grayson is setting in the middle here. Now, if you get pulled forward, don't go on Hunter's left shoulder. But like right behind this shoulder. But when we do front or back or combos, work on that a little bit, where you're starting a little bit to the left, but you're hitting around Grayson's shoulder here and attacking, and then Hunter staying in front. Does that make sense? We also can run Hunter on the 1 foot seat, right behind, and then you come in the front for a bit. Or just even if Grayson's here, you still run right in front. Okay, that makes sense. What else? So A or C, okay. Stay on the go pretty much all the time. We want to keep him on the pin, probably in this rotation all the time. Okay, Nat can run in or out, keeping you spread here on the 10. I think in this rotation, having 2 attackers on the pin all the time and playing around with your 2 spacing is what we want to see. Does that make sense? Okay. Anything else in this rotation? You can. Yeah. But let's just make sure that when we're doing front or backward combos, we're doing some where you're setting here, some where you're setting here, and also some where you are accidentally bad there. Okay, if you get caught all the way back here, then what are we doing with our play? We can run. Well, if you fall back, and this would probably be a good time to unroll to a big one. Yeah. If the original plan is a B, go B, middle of the court. If the original plan is an A, go center of the court, fast, 1 foot closer. And then this is one of those where you set almost right on top of yourself, and then you drill it to the instrument. Does that make sense? Okay. Anything else here? Okay. Let's rotate 4. Passing responsibilities stay about the same here. How confident do you guys feel in these past 4 passing rotations? We'll do serve C by rotation next week when we're doing, because the biggest concern is taking away passing responsibility from Simon, but it would help us a lot if we can both take more responsibility and you can focus more on just scoring, or servers trying to, stupidly, in my opinion, try to target you even more on the sideline here, which is going to generate a couple more errors. This seam has been a problem. I think with the seam being smaller, like before, with it being past 3, and the seam being so big, this is the one where we're both failing in, okay? You have to make sure you are behind them all the time. But you should still play as much as you can. Okay? Alright. No. Yes. Just Simon always goes in front of you a lot. Let's see how it looks more neutral first. Because I think as soon as we create a stagger option, it gives servers ideas. And actually, I think the better play for us for the ball to go that way So as soon as you guys stagger, it gives people ideas on where they want to place the ball, and I'd rather them have to think they have to serve harder than just be really accurate to serving deep on you or shorter on you, needing him to come in front or something like that to generate more errors. Does that make sense? Okay. What do we think in this rotation? Go be big blue. Okay. And then the B here is really high. And I would say this is another rotation where if you get pulled back, we run the big blue plays. Yep. Yeah. If it's a B, you go to if it's A, you go middle, straight to race. Okay. And theoretically, this rotation 2, we're going to have blockers shifting over on U3. So on everything except for the bingo, we want to map on this side instead of on that side. Left side. But that's us on the way. Normally, if you want to come in on the right hand side, when he's doing the bingo, then go on the. Does that make sense?
See, never time you try to pick up I'll tell you.
And I mean, the visual cue would be Grayson having to step this way.
Yeah, it's probably just like, so you're going to get me out.
You need to make sure you're paying attention to Grayson's balls to Hunter, because if Grayson steps back and Hunter's running the B to the bingo, then you go like a normal bit on his left hand shoulder. And if he's coming this way more, then you go straight up the middle, because from this shot here, you want to swing like if all of these blockers come out here, this blocker's he's going to stay on the side. So you want to make sure you are coming out of the swing this way. Makes sense. And then you'll have a line on this for sign, which is good. We also have the blue in this rotation here. When we're in a good spot, have Matt come behind you. So you're going one-on-one. You probably will have this blocker on you regardless, but you'll have that one-on-one sweep this way, which is not bad. You could probably catch one of your left hands in a bad spot. The blue, always being a bailout option here, is good as well. Okay? Do we agree with that? Okay. Let's look at 5. This one, we're going to pass 3. Matt's going to pull up. Yeah. So that we can focus on Matt's score in this rotation. Here, start a little wide, but understand both of you. But understand that both of you are going to cover a lot of space in this scene. Really here, the only balls you should have to worry about are these one-step or shuffle plays, just like that. And you two are always going to come in and try to cut in front into a seam. Okay? Yeah. The likelihood that either one of you is going to be served straight down the sideline is really low. Somebody's coming and trying to go through the seam or straight to you. So we should be able to load and then plan so that we're ready to move inside right away, and then take seam looks. And then Edison can focus on very small, simple movements to play. Okay? What will we do? Yeah. This is another rotation where we want to keep you in as much as possible. The big Edison is good. Simon on the blue here is good.
I don't know. I wonder what's the problem. He's the big inside.
So just right inside. Just right there.
If he's letting him pop, you put. I think he lets him go back. We're back to the small should put it. That's my right this. So obviously it's like he's a bit right. Like if they jump on the field, you don't really have.
This middle's going to have to follow. They have to. I would say we're perfectly consistent. All of these on top of here that you run past here. Okay, because the only person who can even possibly be on you is this left one blocker, and this left one blocker cannot cover both of you at the same time. What you should really be checking here is these times that the middle has to. Okay, if left one is really going to change the way, then the big is not a great option because the blocker is going it's straight to a faster ball. Okay. And then on, it says a higher tempo. Okay. But it's still not that left one. I would actually say that if this left one is going to not be then you're actually which if we can establish you back here on the blue, even better, because we want this left one blocker to be focusing on you. And you are then Edison is an option on the game to score, and the middle has to focus on you. The right one would be dumb if they focus on anything but you, but might be dumb. So we'll have to kind of watch in scouting what this right front is going to do in this rotation. If they're going to be ready to commit out to that right away, or if they're going to also be focused on like trying to stop punching here. Because if they are, it was just okay, and then you just have to make sure that when you're swinging, you're going to be rotating, you're going to turn your head back in. Because even if you catch the left arm, makes sense. Okay. Does this make sense? Does this rotation make sense? Like this. And then you two stay. Okay, you stay in the middle back, you stay right back. I don't think I saw any point this week you play right there. Or you middle back. In any games or anything like that. Did you? Okay, this week, this upcoming week, we have to do that. Okay. Okay, let's look at 6. Yep. Yeah, so you're going to have 2 rotations where you're just focusing this way. This one, take one little step to the right. This should be this. Okay, we want people to serve here. Okay, which means you should be ready to take one little step out. Okay, you're going to get started on this rotation. So, I mean, you're going to see sideline inside the balls here, but this is going to be a hard rotation. Make sure you're ready to step in and pass to right here. I think against better jump topspin servers in both of the last 2 rotations, we just pass them. And then now just take responsibility directly on the sideline. Okay, but if we're not going to play really aggressive servers, then we want them to pay for not being able to get us out of system. So if we're not playing super aggressive jump topspin servers, we'll stay here. If we are, we'll just pull back and pass forward, and then we'll be fine with that. Okay. Okay. Offense is an option in this rotation. Yes.
So you run a big inside, so I think it'll be big, and then side curl like a black, or if he's not.
Are you about to suggest green?
What were you actually
Is that what you're saying?
jump from it, kind of I was like putting it almost like on top of me, like flow.
guessing is one being and that is far away from each other. I don't think you want to pull that to because I actually think the main goal is to set in this rotation.
I think the smartest part is so far I can't really go
well, they don't have to start here. You two can start here. What? No, man. He just has to keep on the ring. That's it. You can all come over here. And it's I swear to God, I really want to give you better that's for the passes. You never been able to play around. In a different rotation. In
start where the B is, then it's all easier. Then you can perfectly go here or whatever. That's not how I like it.
Now, if people see this, now servers are going to have a field day trying to screw this, okay? Which maybe number one option being serving short around this area, and then you just play it, okay? Or Ethan can just play it. He can. We did in Canada, but I just did a whole bunch of ball control with you two out of the net, and it was really nice.
So I'd say it's okay.
Well, it actually, I should have said this yesterday, but I didn't because I was watching everything. But when we do more of the individual passing lanes, which we will go back to again, we can also do routes where the middles are passing short, 10 minutes, which I didn't say that we do that yesterday. Does that make sense? But we have that also do routes where they're passing short.
Black.
I mean, there are a lot of different things.
But if it's off, then you automatically like a B. Because you'd be here first or B.
Because then what you could also do here is an extra inside of Edison can run your review. Okay, and then when you work on this, it's like a lot of but it's not like you know, we can cause distractions based on us being so physically close. But we could. But we could. I think you don't do this. I think you just every once. Yeah, I mean we're going to do service rotations passing, where we can work on the pass forward rotations, and we're going to do service to attack, where we can play around with different offensive movements. Does that make sense? Okay. There is a lot to play around with here, but only if you guys are also going to be very viable backup teams, which should be. I think the goal is actually using that as little as possible in this rotation, but you want people to look at you like you're going to get set. And then as soon as somebody for a second realizes that other people are options, then you get set. Does that make sense? Then you can just score immediately, and then we can sign up. Okay? Okay. Let's go, and then this rotation also, there's the two rotations that you guys on the back row together, middle back, right. Make sense? Okay. All right, let's go back to one and let's switch the lineups here. It's like a so passing three in this rotation. Still overloading this side. But what's the even better viable option in this rotation is stacking.
We're gonna slide.
So you guys would switch. Yeah. I think the first option is a good idea on tougher servers, and on weaker servers, stacking is another idea. Because then more likely we'll have this option behind every time. Does that make sense? And I think we should still hold both of them this way. So when Hunter's running the D here or C, Ethan's also coming forward to run A, not a B. Because then the big runs to the left away from where these two are moving, and then we have the good out. So we have just stay in a straight line. So don't come forward first, make a straight line out. It's more like a slanted approach here. Because a lot of the focus here is going to be on YouTube. Okay? Anytime Ethan is not having somebody dedicated to watching him, this ball goes. Because as soon as Ethan's established in this rotation, then the other side goes. Okay, because then they already know probably that they think they have a background option that they have to pay attention to. They know that they have to focus on Hunter. They know that they have a left run option that they always have to pay attention to. That's the whole point of stacking out here. So Ethan is the one that we want to try to set the most in this rotation. And then as soon as like this middle stays focused on him and gives a one-on-one to Hunter behind, then it goes to Hunter or second. Easy. Okay? Anything to keep one-on-ones for Matt as much as possible too. Okay? Alright. What do we think about that? Looks good? Okay. Let's go to so we want to stay straight all the time. Runners to as much as possible. Not getting on the loose today. We want to want to as much as possible attack one run. Okay, so that's in this rotation. Attack one run. Stay on the right. Start. So anytime he guards, we can run faster. Again, balls. And then as soon as we get a little bit out of rotation, that we have a bailout option on both sides. We talk a lot about making sure that Hunter is higher and further out here. Okay, so we want to make sure we go through second contact work. Also, we keep it honest. Okay, we're insistent that you're leaving a little bit more than you can see down. Okay, if he's going to get into more trouble, and then higher into the system. Yeah. Okay. All right. Let's go 2, 3. Okay. Again, same sort of idea. Keep YouTube spread as much as possible. Okay. In this rotation here, we can probably now start to work inside. Okay, so we start with the spread, establish the spread, and go to moving inside a little bit more. All right. Work with 2s, work with 7s. All right. We'll just get that one rotation buffer to get blockers. Does that make sense? Anything else you see in this rotation? Yeah. Get in the middle and let everybody else. Get the questions.
Alright, is that 7?
So start off over 1, 2, and then you're going to do jump 2. Okay, let's go 4. I think on easier serves we pull silent. And then on more aggressive serves, pass forward. Okay. This way, your sole job is to score. Okay. This is where it would be helpful if you could get off 1 foot and score, because then Edison can also come up through the middle when we're in the system and score up the middle too. Okay. So if we can hit in system more and get you behind, then the blockers have 2 people that they have to stop in the middle in Grayson and Edison. Okay. If we can get the connection down with you all, makes sense. And then still keeping Simon spread. Or if he's running inside on 2, Edison would come in on a black. Yes. That'll happen more often in transition. When we're serving. So like when Edison's serving, Nick would come over and play right back. Okay. And when we're in receive, it will depend on Edison's route. If he's coming in through the middle, then honestly you 2 might just want to stay. Yeah, you 2 stay. Let Nick play left back. Big. Yeah. And then in transition, go C a lot. To let 1 and 2 get a lot of scoring opportunities. Makes sense? Okay. Anything we're seeing in this rotation or any other offensive plays here?
Like a B4, it's like it's up here. I have no idea.
And then Edison goes.
A little more. I mean, look how far. I don't really know. I just want
It might not be a bad idea, though. With all that traffic coming this way and Edison going back behind where they can't see through it, instead of a left front blocker who has nothing to do, watching just him in view, it could be a bit. Because right front's always going to watch Simon, right? So as soon as Simon starts coming through 4, especially with Edison coming around the back, and you're not getting served, like if you don't get served there, you coming around for a green, you 2 just have to make sure you don't do something crazy, like backing up into Edison, okay? And giving him space to work around. We'll try that. We'll try other things in this rotation. Okay. Anything else? Okay. Let's go 6 or 5. Or bring a, yeah, yes, and this would be the rotation as well, where you stay in right back, and Edison stays in right back. Okay. Anything else here? Are we losing our interest or what? Do you need to go? Yes.
I could run that and it's like, well, it's just so isolated. It's
6. So what are you doing here? Okay. We will try those out next week. That's it.